G'day guys and gals. Look, I am going to get stuck into the time-lapse very shortly, but just before I do, I just want to say that this is cut down from a long-form version where I go into more of a tutorial side, and it's going to look a little like this at the end. So if you think you'd like to paint along with me, then be sure to check out the link below, and I will add that into the description. But with that said, grab yourself a cuppa, kick back, relax, and let's get stuck into it. Catch you at the end. I'll just jump in here really quick. I've just used a little bit of the wrapper that the canvas came in there, just to give it that dappled effect, which really does look good for a little bit of texture. there we go, guys and gals. Hopefully you got something out of this particular video. It was cut down from a long form version, as I said in the start of the video. But even though they're cut down, I do put a lot more into these particular ones and don't cut as much because I don't need to, because the speed obviously speeds up the video. So if you're wondering why they're just as long as my tutorials, well, that's the reason. But like I said, if you'd like to paint along with me in this one, you can go to the tutorial that will be linked in the description. And don't forget to like and subscribe, share me around and all that sort of stuff that helps the channel grow. And hopefully you got something out of this, and I'll see you in the next one. Catch ya!